second half of the lecture is still adding decimals, but there's a missing piece. If we look, we have only 6/10 and no 100ths. So what I'd like to do is put a placeholder there, but in order to do that, we better check and see, is 6/10 the same as 60 100ths? In other words, are 6 dimes the same as 60 pennies? And we know they are. They look different, but they are equal. So I can put that placeholder. So using decomposition, this problem becomes 5 plus 6/10. Decomposing the second number, I have 4/10, which I'm adding, and 5 100ths. Notice again, I put it in its place. Its placeholder is hundredths. Adding my ones, adding my tenths. I have 6 dimes, 4 more makes 10 dimes, or an entire dollar. And I still have my 5 pennies, or my 5 100ths. Combining all my dollars and my cents, or my 5 100ths, gives me 6 and 5 100ths. Using partial sums, adding the 1, there's only 5. Adding my tenths, 6/10 and 4/10 make 10/10, which is also a whole or 1. Putting my placeholder in, no 100ths plus 5 100ths is 5 100ths. Combining my ones, my tenths, and my hundredths. Notice again that your decimal point must line up, so you're adding tenths to tenths and hundredths to hundredths. If we show this using fractions, it's sometimes difficult to see how 6/10 and 4/10 turn into a whole until you see it actually in fraction form. 5 plus 10/10 plus 5 100ths. 10/10 from our fraction module is a whole. Adding my wholes, I have 6 and 5 100ths. Converting that to decimal form, realizing that the second position after the decimal is my hundredths. Likewise, when we get a problem where there's missing digits or placeholders in the second number, we can do the same thing. Decomposing, 20 plus 1 plus 6/10 plus 2 100ths plus 4 1,000ths. Notice there's an increasing of a 0 in the denominator as I move to my right. Lining up my ones, remember that's my tens. Adding my tenths, which is 3/10. I don't have any hundredths or thousandths, so I'm going to add my tens, my ones, my tenths, my hundredths, and my thousandths. Combining this as a total, 29 with 9/10, 2 100ths, and 4 1,000ths. Remember how you would say this number would be 29 and 924 1,000ths. You say the number, and then you look at the position of the last digit. It's in the thousandths position. If I use partial sums, adding my tens, I get 20. Adding my ones, get 9. Adding my tenths, I get 9/10. Adding my hundredths, so what we often do is put a 0 in that position as a placeholder. I get 2 100ths, and adding my thousandths, there's a TH on the end of this, I get 4 thousandths, my tens, my ones, my tenths, my hundredths, and my thousandths. Once again, you must make sure that your decimal lines up so you're adding like places.